back to outdoor exploration, where we have a heap of leaves around us gathering because it's only just the beginning of the autumn leaf season. And I thought it would be fun to go out and find various colors of leaves that we still have and talk a bit about them. Because I personally find leaves and the whole autumn changing experience totally fascinating. So come with me. So I am going to try to collect a rainbow of leaves. I have already a hazel leaf that's green, a small yellow maple leaf, this browner maple leaf. Let me see if I find more red. Oh, here's quite a red one. An orangey yellow one. Ooh, I trade it for this one. Look at this one. What a color. All right, let's see what else. Green and yellow. What a gorgeous leaf. Ooh, look at this one. Still attached. Beautiful. Most of the huckleberries are still green, but as you can see, this one is beginning to turn red so beautifully. Wow, what a color. So I will pick us a couple of these. Oh, that's not as easy. They're all falling off when I try. Okay, use my maple leaf as a plate and collect these pinky red leaves. If I can, I just dropped way more than I grabbed by just simply bumping the tree. Come on, don't fall. Wow, what a gorgeous color. The reason why some trees have red leaves in the autumn and some have yellow is so fascinating to me. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but first let me collect my rainbow. Oh, some of these are like a brilliant red and others are a magenta. Blueberries, which are related to huckleberries, also turn this purpley red in the autumn. All right, that's enough. Back in my own yard, some blueberries, which you can see are brilliant red, some of them. Like I said, related to huckleberries. And they just have piles of these bright red leaves coming. So let's add that to our rainbow here. So I'm going to lay these out on this bridge, which I can conveniently come stand beside here. Let's see how this works. Excuse me, frogs, if you're there. All right. Let's see. So from only a few species of trees, we have, how will I do this? All kinds of colors. And I don't know, does this go with orange more than red? I think so. Let's see. And this will go up here also, and this has a little green, so I'll put it there. And now for my huckleberry and blueberry leaves. The backs are still green, interestingly. All right. I'm going to leave some of those looking green because that's pretty cool to me. So, oh, and look at this. A gray leaf. I think this is from the aspen back there. Can't even see it against the asphalt on this bridge. But I thought it would be interesting to talk about why leaves change color. So first we need to know why they're green. Basically, I see plants and animals, including people, as two sides of the same picture. So plants on one side, if you think of us as two sides of a whole, take in energy from sunlight along with carbon dioxide from the air, which they actually breathe in through tiny little pores on the surface of their leaves, and combine those with water that they pull up through their roots, and they actually build carbohydrates, which is what they're basically made out of, their stems and leaves and trunks, whatever parts of them. And then and they also breathe out oxygen. And then we, animals, actually breathe in the oxygen that they breathed out, and we eat the plants, which are carbohydrates mainly. And in our bodies, we change that combination, along with water also, into energy. So basically, the plants bring in the sun's energy and create food for us. And air. We take the plant's air and get energy for ourselves. So there's a lot more to that picture. Other things like nitrogen are involved as well. But in a basic sense, we're two sides of the same metabolic cycle, sort of. So plants are green because of something called chlorophyll, which is in chloroplasts, which are little cellular structures inside them. And they use the chlorophyll to convert the sunlight and other things into the carbohydrates that they need to make themselves, to grow, basically. So what happens is, as the summer progresses and becomes autumn, especially in the northern or southern hemisphere, further away from the equator, the days get shorter and shorter. And they get less and less sunlight, so less and less energy, and the chloroplasts are doing less and less work, and eventually the tree prepares for winter by cutting off supply, and it actually changes the cell structure where the leaf attaches to the tree and stops replenishing the chlorophyll. So basically, chlorophyll gets used up in the process of creating carbohydrates, and so it needs to be constantly replenished by the plant, and eventually the plant stops doing that, and so the chloroplasts die. And then what you have is something like with these beautiful leaves where some of the chloroplasts have died. And then, well, let's look at this little one because it's easier to pick up. And then you can see there are some still alive there, and they're still green, but most of it is yellow. The yellow is a pigment that was in the leaf already. We just couldn't see it because it was masked by the green chlorophyll. So that's why they're green. I mean, yellow and green. Then you also get these beautiful red colors. And this is what's so fascinating to me. Basically, it's sugar. So as you know, sugar is a simple carbohydrate. And what happens with, well, this too, I think, over here, when the tree cuts off the cell link, the cellular link that basically it narrows the veins that used to supply the water to the leaf to bring all that carbohydrate back down the tree and create everything it needs to do. And it's in preparation for the leaf, to fall. But when it narrows that, a lot of sugar, which is the simple carbohydrate, gets stuck in the leaf, and it becomes a red pigment. So I think that means that the redder the leaves are, the more sugars they have in them. I kind of want to taste this now and find out. Just a minute. It's a blueberry leaf. It won't hurt me. Well, it's sour. It's not sweet. But interestingly, some maples actually don't really make red leaves, and some do. Sugar maples do, or that kind of rich red-orange color. As we know, our big leaf maples here on the coast become this sort of brown or orangey brown color, and like this before they die. But eventually all those pigments just rot away too as the leaves really turn brown and die. And that's basically the story of the color of leaves, as far as I know it, which is pretty simple. But yeah, then I have to wonder about things like the red stems. So is this sugar? Maybe, I don't know. Believe it or not, there are people who have devoted their lifetime to researching color in leaves and the chemistry of why and how it happens. But let's just look at a couple more before we end this video, because they're so beautiful and so fascinating. And I have a couple interesting ones to show you in my own yard. This is an aspen. It's not indigenous on the island here I live on the coast, but they're very, very common in the interior of British Columbia. And as you can see, it's going from green to a pretty bright yellow right now. And in the interior, where it gets they get those cold nights, they actually get brilliant yellow. But it's so interesting to me that as soon as the leaves fall, they seem to be, or around the time they fall, they seem to be black. This almost totally hueless gray-black color, you know, with little bits of yellow still in them at this point. I have no idea why that is. But I wonder if it's because they just don't trap sugars, maybe, and so the leaves basically don't make any of that red pigment. They're just yellow and then gray. They just lose all their color. That's all there is left of them. And let me show you a larch. Larch is also more common in the, or almost exclusively in the interior. But I wanted to talk about it because it looks a little bit like an evergreen because it has needles, and like evergreens, there, I'm just going to grab a little branch of it here. Come here, branch. They look like evergreen needles, but unlike evergreens, they turn yellow and fall off. And I also don't know why that is. I'm guessing that they are too fragile, maybe. They're not as tough as other needles on, you know, things like pine and fir. So maybe they can't withstand the winter. And apparently trees can lose a lot of energy and water through their leaves in the winter, and that's one of the reasons that they drop them. So maybe that's why a larch needs to drop its needles. But in the winter, this will be totally naked, and then grow them all back as fresh green needles in the spring. Also, some people call larch tamarack. I'm not sure if there are different types of larch that are called tamarack, or if it's just a different name for the same species, but this is the larch my father planted here. And now before we go, because we're talking about daylight getting shorter, trees not having enough daylight to produce enough of the chlorophyll that they need to pull in and make their carbohydrates for us to eat. Well, if we were eating trees, but you know, plants in general. I wanted to talk about our chickens because, hey, it's a great opportunity to update you. And interestingly, chickens also determine a lot about their physiology and biology by light, daylight hours specifically. So come with me. Hi guys, I have treats. Hi, just a minute. Okay, back up, hold on. So this is some wood sorrel, one of my chicken's favorite snacks, and for you, the people at the back. And just an example of some animals taking some carbohydrates, which are plants that have pulled the energy in from the sun and created those carbohydrates in the form of leaves. And my little friends here are going to eat them all up and convert them back into energy. And eggs, yes. But the interesting thing is, chickens actually stop laying in the winter. Slowly, gradually, they lay fewer and fewer eggs until they may stop altogether for up to a few months. And I only recently discovered that the reason for that is that chickens actually have a light receptor. Sorry, there you go. Yeah. In their brain, under their skull, that actually perceives the light coming in through their head, inside their brain. It's not their eyes. Obviously, they also perceive light through their eyes like we do. But this light perceptor somehow is involved in regulating their I guess their biological function, and they need a certain amount of light to be able to lay eggs. So as the daylight hours become shorter and shorter, they simply don't get enough of the light to be able to produce as many eggs, or eggs as often. So they produce less, and that's why we have less. I think you're finished, guys. I just find color and light and the whole dynamic of how our world works in the sunlight with the seasons. Hi, my friend. So fascinating. I mean, I know I'm an artist, but really, it's amazing. Amazing. So, until next week, happy exploring. Enjoy the autumn. Sorry, that's all I had. That's all I had. Yeah.